All right,
Okay.
welcome back.
Woo! Welcome back to
Orbiton
Orbiton
Weekly.
Weekly.
So I like this topic today because I think it's really interesting about how companies are viewing their budgeting of staff
hmm
with AI tokens being a big part of how they budget the salaries. And there's this quote that we were just talking about from Jensen
hmm
Huang where he says, if a $500,000 engineer didn't consume at least 250 grand worth of tokens, I'm going to be
Yeah.
deeply alarmed. He's like, if that person said like 5,000, like he's gonna lose his mind. And I think that they sell these GPUs, like they,
Yeah.
they sell the infrastructure for this economy. So I take it with a grain of salt, but I kind of get what he means because at the same time, when I'm thinking about our developers and if I'm going to get another developer or if I should just
hmm
allocate more token budget to an existing developer, and I know how much time I work and how many
hmm
tokens I burn through. Yes, I would be concerned if a developer wasn't spending a certain amount because you can
Yeah.
kind of tell how much they're working.
hmm
So I get that perspective, but I do think like that's also
Yeah.
like that's
It's
the
it's
other
just
extreme.
it's another buzzword, just like how we've been talking kind of this whole year about how AI is really cool and this is huge and this is changing everything and oh no, we took it one step too far. Nope, now we're being kind of crazy by saying we're talking about all of the tokens and then forgetting that the best software developers are people that can simplify it and that can do the crazy tasks with the simplest code. I think that it takes some like
Yeah.
problem solving to be like, how am I going to do this? If you're, let's take like Gemini, for example, if you're on there and you're prompting Nano Banana to make you some graphic, and both instances you come out with the same result, but one person is just going, do this, nah, not this,
Yeah.
nah. And you spend 2 hours doing this to get your graphic, or someone goes, okay, how am I gonna structure this so that it knows the context, it does exactly what I need, and I don't need to do 50,000 iterations. Like it's the
So
same.
basically, it's like they are getting the better output, but because they don't need to go back and forth as much, they're using less tokens, and so it's more
Yeah.
effective but better. So it's basically you're kind of saying that the token spend is the wrong metric.
I think, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I am curious how people will continue to talk about tokens because yeah, when prepping for the pod today and pulling some of these quotes, it just feels again like this is a really interesting new version of like currency that we have going on, which is fun and
Yeah.
interesting. And then some of the quotes taken from, yeah, like high up people um that know what they're talking about seems to have be caught in the AI bubble
Hype.
psychosis hype where it's
Well,
like,
it's to their
yeah.
advantage. Like
Oh,
you gotta
for
keep in
sure.
mind, like these guys are promoting their stuff. I've noticed a lot of companies
hmm
that are throwing agentic and AI agent on any random thing, like even like a
Yeah.
simple like dashboard like add-on instead
Yes.
of it being like this is a reporting tool where it shows your chart of how
hmm
many people you talk to in your CRM, and it's
hmm
just a simple query to your database and an output of the chart. They're now calling it an agentic workflow.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that
There's
stuff, and then
buzzwords.
there's just buzzwords, and they're just because you can charge more,
Yeah.
and a lot of people I guess don't understand like what whoever they're selling to I guess doesn't understand that that's
Yeah.
not actually an agentic workflow. But then there are also really incredible things being done
hmm
that are real agentic workflows, and it's kind of like in the beginning of .com or even iPhones when people were like, you're going to be able to do this, like it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. And there was a group of people who were actually doing it. And then there's a lot of people who are promoting it. And then what happens is people buy the promotion, they buy the marketing, they use
hmm
the product, they get disappointed, and then they think the whole thing's bullshit. But it's really just that that was not a good product, and somebody else could execute on it later and have a great product. So it's like the term is not
hmm
associated to the value right
No.
now.
Yeah. And you're right with all of every company ever right now is calling themselves an AI company.
Yeah.
And it's the same, like, that interview with Mark Zuckerberg where he's asked like why Facebook succeeded and others didn't, and he just said, "Well, I kept going."
Yeah.
I think that it's obviously more than that, but it is kind of like the companies that really did have the intention of being an AI company will stay an AI company and will like
Yep.
continue because it will not fade. It will just like solidify our knowledge of like
Yeah.
you like okay, yeah, now we understand not everyone has to be a freaking AI company.
No,
Um
no, no, exactly. And it's like it's interesting because the whole wave of everybody kind of hopping on this is so reminds me so much of crypto, and then before that
oh yeah.
gaming, and then like it's like so
NFTs.
yeah, but people will look at like there's I really love Dalton and Michael because they talked about
Oh
how
yeah.
it's like they said this thing where it's like since when did raising a Series A or Series B become the finish line? Like that's like the
Mhm.
goal is to build a great company,
Mhm.
not have this flash. And so now there's this like whole pull towards flashy stuff, and so people
Mhm.
will optimize for that flashy moment,
Mhm.
but you're still just building a business. Like at the end of the day, you're
Yes.
still building a business. You have to have
Yes.
happy customers, you have to have good margins, you have like it's a business. Apple's
Yes.
successful because they're a business.
Yes.
Microsoft's successful because they're a business. And somebody uh was talking about how I don't remember who it was, but there's like hundreds of SaaS companies,
Mhm.
but none of them are as big as like an Apple or Microsoft.
Mhm.
And the reason he said is because the nature of SaaS up to now was that you could only really optimize for one specific workflow, one specific use case,
Mhm.
and be really good for that. And then now with AI, you can kind of do like vertical SaaS, is what they're
Mhm.
calling it. And I think that has merit. So it's again,
Yeah.
it's like all
And
these things are happening. Nobody really knows what to do, but then there's like hype and there's reality.
yes. And I like their Dalton and Michael and a couple other YC videos were talking about the kind of push and pull argument of the fear of being like just a wrapper company of AI. And then some of the quotes that we were talking about with tokens, they're even saying, we believe that every single company is going to become a reseller of tokens. And it's like, okay, maybe not every company, but I'll like, sure. And where is that fine and where is it not? It reminded me
Mm-hmm.
of a video that Dalton and Michael had done a while ago, talking not about AI, but about SaaS and saying how everyone is so scared of the word like consulting in tech and being
Yeah.
like, no, 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 that's consulting. I'm not going to do that. And they're like, no, that's just, no, that's part of the business actually. No, you're supposed to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And, but then there is like the push and pull of like not wanting to, like, you're right, but don't take it too far. And it reminded me of that. But what are your thoughts on being a reseller of tokens or a wrapper company? Because
Mm-hmm.
essentially, kind of a lot of like, we don't have any plans to build open AI, but we
No.
are like, but no one is. There's like
No.
three of them right now. Like
Three
it's
major ones.
yeah,
I don't think they're wrong in the sense that
yeah,
like we're going to be reselling tokens. It's like yes,
yeah,
but also like you could argue that HubSpot is reselling a database. HubSpot's a
for
database
sure.
system, costs them
Yeah.
minimal, they upcharge, and so yes,
Yeah.
we will be reselling
Hmm.
tokens. But again, the job of a business is to solve people's problems. So
Hmm.
you solve a problem, and if you're able to solve that problem at scale and have a profit margin, you have a business. So I
Yes.
don't think that this is like I think fundamentally same as any other kind of business.
Yeah.
The only difference is that I will say now we can do things that you used to need people for, and you can do it at scale, and you can do it at a
Hmm.
predictable cost and predictable rate, which means you can take on more volume of work
Hmm.
for less cost while maintaining quality. Most of the world needs people who
Hmm.
are using these tools to adapt them for their use cases.
Yeah.
And that's the same as consulting. That's also the
Yeah.
same as like any kind of
Well,
computer company
even
like Apple.
even
Like,
like taking it as far as I like the problem solving thing because it's like even
mhm,
as taking it as far as something like a creative field like photography or marketing, people
yes,
will say like, "Oh, but I can just run my own socials." It's like, absolutely.
you
The
totally can.
the reason you hire me is because I think I can do it better.
Yeah,
And it's
I
like
can do it better, and also you don't have infinite time.
exactly, you're solving a problem. It doesn't mean that you're like necessary to the like I know that people can do their marketing without me. They hire me because I can help like I'm solving that problem.
Hmm.
And yeah, I guess you could take that as far to like any business
To
or
anything.
anything.
Yeah,
And the same reason why I kind of the same thing that we were talking about when like if AI will replace everyone. It's like, well, it
yeah,
could. It could.
it could. But you still
But
need somebody to make it do the thing. Like
yeah.
it's like the bottom line, I feel like it's so funny because in order to raise lots of capital, in order to get
Mhm.
people excited, like when it comes to marketing, you have to be out there, you have to be
Mhm.
different, you have to be kind of like an extremist, and then
Mhm.
that's how you get a lot of buy-in. But then when you go back to operating, you're like, okay, cut all that
Mhm.
fluff. When you're operating, you're just like problem, solution, what's the best way to solve that? And what's happened now is like people had problems. The best way
Mhm.
to solve it used to be, building software with like pre-made coded workflows.
Mhm.
And that was because you didn't have anything that could do probabilistic determination where you can use probability to try and guess what should be done and infer what needs to be done. You couldn't do that on a cheap way at scale.
Mhm.
Now you can, which means I can do an API call to Anthropic, to OpenAI, to whatever Llama
Mhm.
3, and I can go in and get it to do that probabilistic decision making. So software can now kind of make decisions as well, which
Mhm.
means that you can take away more of the human workflow.
Yeah.
That's basically what's happened. And I think the next thing that's going to be really interesting is robotics, because
Yeah.
we've been doing a lot in the digital world
Mhm.
and you haven't really been able to carry that over because in the physical world there's way more variables that you can't
Yeah.
anticipate for, but now with AI you probably can. So I think that'll be fun to see. Mark Andreessen was on a podcast with David Senna, I think is his
Mhm.
name, and so he's pretty well-known podcaster, but I don't know how to say his last name. And they're talking about how every time there's a new technology, everybody gets this big like doomsday fear.
Yeah.
And there's actually this website, pessimistsarchive.org, where it goes all the way back to like when the Walkman
Mhm.
came out. They were like, kids are gonna like their brains are gonna get fried from listening to too much
Yeah.
music, and their productivity is gonna go down because everybody's just gonna be on their Walkman. Like every time a new technology
Yes.
comes out, it's the same
Even
damn story.
electricity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's funny, but I think for us, like our focus is gonna be like, what does our customer need? Obsessive about customer. As Paul
Mhm.
Graham says, everything that's big starts small. Focus on a
Mhm.
customer, get them to really love you. Not like, oh, I really like you, but like, if you stopped working on this, it would ruin my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then grow from there. That's
Yeah.
what we're going to do.
And I think what you were saying about marketing being flashy, you need to be whatever. I have noticed a shift and have started implementing that. That the Dalton and Michaels of the world, the Hank Greens of the world, the grounded like, yeah, but this is the facts. This is all crazy, but this is just what's happening. Like we're in a crazy world and yeah, we work in tech, but
We're just guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're just
Just
regular
building
people.
stuff.
And like I
Yeah.
think that is going to because amidst all of the crazy, that kind of stands out now of being like, oh
It does. Yeah. Hey, it's
yeah,
different.
okay,
It's different. It's
yeah,
like calm and collected. No,
yeah,
it's awesome.
hmm
Well, I think next week we're going to have a few more updates on some new clients. Um, Growth has been good, and then we'll also have a few new product updates that we can show. So I'm looking forward to that one next week.
okay.
Caleb cut out my part.
No.
Awesome. Cool.
All right, peace out.
Peace out.